My Year 12 major project is mainly a showcase of my skills in footage capturing from my home to Sydney to Tokyo. More specifically, I took footage from Circular Quay and Town Hall, capturing landmarks and tourist locations such as the Royal Botanical Gardens and Sydney Harbour Bridge. While in Tokyo, I took lots of footage from observatory towers and team labs. Unfortunately, I was doing all this recording handheld, and camera shake or instability was inevitable. Fortunately, I researched how to combat this beforehand and followed these steps. It's a common mistake to keep arms and legs as straight as possible. However, this makes it even more unstable because the weight of the camera is further away from the body, so keeping an even distance between torso and camera is important. Since I'm using a camera strap, I had to tighten it so I wouldn't be straightening my arms completely, but also loosen it enough so I had a flexibility and fluidity in my camera movement. Similarly, when moving with feet, it is better to walk like a ninja, with a smooth flow in the feet, trying not to thud. Despite these efforts, there was still instability in lots of footage, but not as much as when I forgot to use the methods. To combat this, I had to use the warp stabilizer in Premiere Pro, but this also had its own problem, because I couldn't manipulate speed at all after warp stabilizing. Fortunately, there was an option to save a singular clip as a subsequence, so I could export it quickly in its stabilized state, then replace the old version with the exported one. Except the new file didn't have the warp stabilizer effect from Premiere Pro on it. It just looked like a plain original file to Premiere Pro. So it was a smart way to get past the system. For my home footage capturing, I either used a tripod or placed the camera somewhere, so I didn't have to stabilize anything. I also took a softbox light after realizing that some parts of my scenes were poorly lit after only taking the camera. The tripod and light were borrowed from school, meaning I was on time limit to capture the footage, which I stayed within. Before getting into the post-production editing progress, we need to look at the WHS practices, especially ergonomics. Sitting down for a long period of time can cause long-term injuries such as tendonitis through repetitive strain injury, or RSI. Improper form includes hunched shoulders, stretched arms, and a bent back. Problem is, the laptop screen and keyboard are too close together, and the screen isn't high enough to avoid stretching the neck downwards, or straining the arms. If the screen is placed high enough on the eye level, it would be difficult to use the keyboard and strain the arms. Therefore, it is impossible to maintain a healthy posture with a laptop in school. The best way to combat this is to take regular breaks by standing up and stretching the neck and moving the arms and shoulders specifically around its joints to keep them being used and not stiff. However, ergonomics is also based on the work environment, including cable management and free desk space. All my cables are out of my way, and the desk is relatively clear enough for me to use my monitor in peace. Fortunately for my posture, I have a monitor, so I can connect my laptop to it and maintain a good posture for a long period of time. The post-production process consists of this order to create something from a rough representation of the product to the actual completed project. Keep in mind that I had to repeat this process 3 times as my project is split into the home introduction, Sydney B-roll, and Tokyo B-roll. Before my rough cut, I went through all the footage first and eliminated any that had no potential. Then I tested to see which ones were able to be stabilized and which weren't. This was an extremely time-consuming process as I had over 40 minutes of Tokyo footage and only used enough for 2 minutes of sped-up footage. However, this also meant I had a huge variety of options to choose from. I used Lumetri scopes and Lumetri color windows from Premiere Pro to color correct. This helped to sweeten and bring out the best in my footage, as it enhanced important features such as city lights during blue hour while maintaining balanced lighting. In some cases, I found good shots to include a double color grade where I put cool lighting on one side and warm lighting on the other side to achieve a highly contrasting and interesting effect. It was only after selecting the best clips that I was able to continue to the rough cut. The biggest part of the post-production was making transitions. This required lots of scrolling through all my clips, which was mainly camera movement and color for me. I also took great advantage of people blocking and walking through my shots, as it gave me an easy access to mask and transition effectively and creatively. The masking was done through opacity mask with a lot of keyframes and through every frame to surround the target as it moves through the shot, ensuring that there are no gaps. Sound effects were mainly used in the introduction with the tripod filming. These effects were the rustling of bed sheets, the phone alarm, and the notification sound. After all three parts get final touches, color graded, and put together finally, it reaches its final cut and the finished product is ready to be enjoyed.